Namaste. Welcome to this evening practice for the third eye chakra. And in the description under this video, there's lots of information about the third eye chakra if you should want some more information, but you find it around about the center of your forehead, and that's the area we're going to focus on today, along with our eyes. So to begin with, find yourself a comfortable seat. It doesn't matter how you're sitting, as long as you can feel a gentle lift from the base all the way up to the crown of the head. Allow your arms to rest wherever is comfortable and gently close your eyes. Observe how you're feeling tonight. Observe areas of the body that perhaps have a little tension or stiffness or discomfort. Making sure to work gently with those areas throughout this class. Try to bring to your attention one area of the body that is at ease, quiet, feeling spacious. Move your awareness to your breathing and observe your natural breath just as it falls in this moment. As we're working with our third eye center tonight, direct your awareness to the center of the forehead and imagine or visualize yourself breathing in and out through that space across the forehead. Perhaps you feel the coolness of air across the skin there as you breathe in, and a sense of warmth in the center of the forehead as you breathe out. If you find that too difficult to get hold of, focus on the sensation in the nostrils. And it may help to deepen your breath here. Softening the area around the eyes and the shoulders and the jaw. The visual cortex is the largest part of the brain, and by closing our eyes, we quieten a lot of the brain activity that is to do with that sense of sight, sense of vision. And throughout this class tonight, you can choose to work with your eyes closed whenever you would like to give yourself an opportunity to perceive inner visions, whatever is projected onto your eyelids when they're closed, and to rest that visual cortex. For now, bring your hands together, palms together at the center of the chest. We're just going to lift the palms up so that you can rest your thumbs against your third eye chakra. Sit really tall. Take one more deep breath in. And as you breathe out, you can lower your arms and also bring your chin towards your chest. Relax the hands down and gently roll the right ear towards the right shoulder. Chin back to the chest. Left ear to left shoulder. And chin to chest. Gentle roll from side to side. Just exploring how the neck feels. Perhaps you notice as you move your head, sensations across not just the forehead, but the sides of the head above the ears, the back of the head at around about the same height as your forehead. If you wish to, you can roll your head in circles, taking a circle that feels comfortable, not straining or pressing or forcing. Alternatively, you can keep going with semicircles or choose an alternative movement for your neck. When you're ready, you can reverse your motion, going in the other direction if you are circling. And the next time your chin comes to your chest, rest there for a moment, smile and soften your forehead, and then raise your head and open your eyes. Lovely job. Okay, guys. So we're going to do a little opening of the shoulders, and then we'll come onto our hands and knees to do some things for our backs as well. So if you're comfortable to stay sitting in the same position, that's great. If you're cross-legged, you might want to just try changing your legs to the opposite cross, just for a little bit of balance, but that's entirely up to you. We're going to start by taking the elbows towards each other, and then inhale, taking the arms wide, the elbows back, and exhale, rounding through the spine, drawing the chin towards the chest, maybe scooping the belly in ever so slightly. Breathing in, opening wide, lifting, drawing the shoulder blades towards each other. Breathing out, rounding through the upper back particularly. Breathing in. Looking up, breathing out, looking down. Breathing in. Looking up, breathing out, looking down. See if you can do it with your eyes closed. If not, just a sort of gentle half close of the eyelids. Keep moving with your breath. And finishing as you breathe in, reaching the arms wide, floating the arms down to the side. Roll your shoulders when you get there. And then staying with this sort of seated position, we're going to soften the left elbow and just begin by making gentle circling motions with your shoulder and arm. Keep your elbow a little bit soft. And then when you're ready, you can allow the rest of your body to respond to that movement. So still seated and still firm in your belly muscles, but allowing your torso to sort of wriggle through the movement as well. And notice if it's easier to allow your head to follow the movement and your eyes to follow the movement, or if you prefer to keep your head still and your eyes centered, or even if you can do this with your eyes closed and internalize that experience. Switch on our interoception, our ability to feel what's going on inside our own bodies. After one more, just gently coming to a stop and then moving in the opposite direction. You can start with your shoulder circling first and then allow the rest of the body to respond to that movement. Avoid holding the neck too rigid, but allowing the belly muscles to be very active here to support the movement of your torso. If it's uncomfortable to practice with your eyes closed, just keeping a soft gaze, perhaps a sort of heavy lidded eye. We'll do one more in this direction before returning to center and taking a moment to feel the difference between the two sides of the body and notice the area across your third eye, across your forehead. If there's any tension there, then trying to soften the area and the eyes as well. Feel a grounding and a lifting, and then softening the right elbow to move the right arm. Now I apologize, I had my COVID booster yesterday, so I'm going to look a bit clunky on this side because my arm's still really sore. Very good. Whenever you're ready, moving a little bit more with your movement, and it's certainly kinder on the shoulder in my case to do that. A little firmness in your belly. Using your other hand for support if you'd like to, closing your eyes or keeping a heavy lidded eye, or allowing your eyes to follow the movement if that just feels like the right thing to do today. When we work with our third eye, we're very much guided by our intuition, trying to tap into that sense of understanding where we should intuitively move. And when you finish this rotation, taking a moment in stillness and then moving in the opposite direction, maybe starting just with the arm. And as soon as you're ready, allowing the rest of your body to move as your arm moves. Maybe have a sense of the changing light on your closed eyelids if your eyes are closed, as you move your head around the space that you're in, the different fall of shadow and light. One more in this direction. Before bringing yourself back to center, taking a moment to close the eyes or gaze gently downwards and observe the effect of your practice, and notice, especially across the center of the forehead, but all around the top of the head. Not the very top of the head, but that band around the head. How it's feeling, softening any tension there. And then when you're ready, you can blink your eyes open. So it's very much the place where the tennis players of the 1970s had their sweatbands. So that's maybe what we'll call it, the sweatband area. Okay, so we're going to stretch out our legs a little bit and just keeping the knees soft, rolling the ankles a little bit so that you get the knees rolling in and out. You can do both at the same time. You can do them alternately, whatever works for you. And then from here, we're going to come onto our hands and knees to practice a little cat-cow pose. So I've got a bolster here, which I'm going to use later. If you've got one, that's great. If you don't, a couple of blocks or a sturdy book will work. We just need a little something to put under our heads a little bit later on. So coming onto hands and knees for cat-cow, we want to place the hands in a comfortable position, whatever works for you in terms of placement. Maybe tucking the toes under. And we want to start with a lift in the belly muscles and a gentle drawing in of the pelvic floor as well, and pressing the mat away from us so we create space between the floor and the body. Here, thinking about your third eye space, we're going to look forward. So don't worry too much about the breathing, but looking forward, raising your eyes, raising your gaze, lifting your belly muscles, maybe lifting your tailbone. And then look round and down, or down and round, underneath the body, rounding through the spine. So focused on your gaze rather than your breath. So looking forward, opening the chest, lengthening through the front of the body, and then rounding under, looking behind the body, maybe pressing into the feet, pressing into the hands and knees. Looking forward, perhaps it feels good to inhale as well. If you want to add the breath, that's okay. And rounding through the spine, perhaps you automatically exhale. Most experienced yogis probably will here. A little bit more backwards and forwards. See if you can practice with your eyes closed and find your way in this posture. Or softening the gaze. Doing maybe 3 more rounds in your own time. And from your curled under position, tucking the toes flat if they're not already, and just walking your hands back towards you to kneel, And you can kneel up if you need to, or you can use a support if you prefer. And taking a moment in Vajrasana in Thunderbolt pose, just to allow the body to come back to rest. Notice any areas of the body that have perhaps a little tension or a little extra effort. Perhaps you did a bit too much. And then bringing the backs of the hands together to roll the wrists. Awesome sauce. So when we close our eyes as yogis, we really internalize the experience. And it's definitely a practice that comes with a development in your yoga. Let's roll the opposite way as well. So not everybody is comfortable closing their eyes to begin with, and that's absolutely fine. But I've never come across somebody who's still practicing after 10 years who isn't more comfortable closing their eyes then. So when you're ready, you can interlace your fingers and then just make figure of eights with your wrists, trying to keep the elbows close towards each other, and then going the opposite way as well. And we're going to stretch out the wrists because we're going to do some work with plank and downward dog. And so bringing the palms together, turning your left palm upwards and then drawing the fingers back towards the body with the right hand. The idea here being to lengthen the inner arm, the forearm. Also avoid creeping your left shoulder up towards your ear. Settle that shoulder down. You don't have to lengthen your arm all the way straight, but you might want to play a little bit with softening the elbow and lengthening a little bit as well. See, watch your body internally for where feels like the sweet spot for the length without it being too much. Take a deep breath in and a deep breath out. And then bringing your palms back together again in the center, moving to the opposite side. Drawing the right fingertips back, checking that right shoulder hasn't creeped up towards your ear. Maybe gently lengthening your elbow, bending your elbow a little bit more, playing with that movement to get the sense of space. Stretch being now a dirty word in yoga. The sense of space across the inner arm. And then when you're ready, bringing your palms back towards each other and just shaking out the wrists. Nicely done. Okay, so for our next practice, we're going to, excuse me, I need to look at my little sheet here. We're going to go from downward facing dog into plank pose. So we're first going to come back to our cat and come into downward dog in a really purposeful way. So hands down and spreading the fingers as much as feels comfortable, tucking the toes under, round through your spine. So look underneath your body towards your knees, scoop your belly in, and then press your weight back towards your toes and just peel your knees off the floor. Keep your chest back towards your thighs and uncurl your legs nice and slowly. And when you get there, you can gently walk your dog from side to side. Just easing through the backs of the legs, keeping the hands very active, keeping that sense of pressing the chest towards the thighs or towards the feet. You might want to gently turn your head from side to side, and you can do that with your eyes opened or closed as you prefer. Taking time to ease yourself into this practice of the down dog. And down dog is one of the fundamental poses for the chakra, as is the handstand. The down dog is the first pose in the handstand series, so that's inevitable really. No handstands tonight though. It's a little bit late. Okay, so when you're ready, you can bring yourself to center in your down dog. Take a moment to soften if you need to keep this soft across the knees, to scoop the belly up, press the chest towards the thighs, press the hands into the floor. Check that your neck is in alignment with the rest of your spine. And then very gently ease your knees down to the mat and come into a child's pose. If you can, take your forehead to the floor. Now, it might be that once you get here, you need the forearms or the backs of the hands stacked to rest the head on, or a block or similar underneath the head.
but grounding your third eye center at the front of the body on the floor in some way. If your arms are over your head still, you can turn your palms upwards. If you prefer, you can rest your hands down by your feet, whichever feels most restful for you. In your chosen position, soften your eyes closed to soften the forehead, the area around the eyes, and breathe deeply. Perhaps here, with the forehead grounded, be aware of the back of the head. See if you can get a sense of the scalp softening. And then when you're ready, you can come back up into kneeling. And we can, now we've practiced our down dog, we can take our down dog into a plank as well. We're going to go backwards and forwards a bit like we did in cat pose. But for our down dog to plank, we want the hands and the feet a little bit further apart from each other. So you can take your hands in front of your shoulders and your knees perhaps behind your hips to tuck your toes, press into the hands to peel up into downward facing dog. Don't worry about getting your heels to the floor. That is immaterial in this posture, or at least this variation of it. So spend a moment just making sure you're nice and comfy, wiggling your tailbone and making sure you're active through the belly muscles and the shoulders. And then inhale here in downward dog, and then exhale as you move forward to plank. So you're keeping nice and tight through the core and the shoulders come over the hands, looking slightly ahead of your mat. Inhale here and exhale to downward facing dog. Look to the center of your mat, so not at your toes because you'll drop the head down, center of the mat. Inhale here and exhale as you look to the space beyond your fingertips, maybe the end of your mat. Inhale here and exhale back to downward dog, looking to the center of your mat. Inhale here, firm in the belly, exhale, moving to plank, looking ahead of your mat. Inhale here, exhale, moving to down dog, center of the mat. Then try a few with your eyes closed if you feel up to it. Inhaling, exhaling as you move. Notice how it is more challenging to get into the right place. Inhale, exhale as you move. Your sense of space and your place in it is so much determined by what we see. Inhale, exhale to plank. Inhale, exhale to down dog. If you can manage, if you would like to rest at any stage, of course, doing so, you can rest in child's pose. Exhaling down dog, inhaling, exhaling plank. So finishing perhaps this time when you come to downward facing dog, and then dropping the knees down to the mat, forehead to the floor, turning the palms upwards, or resting the arms down by your side. You can have your knees as far apart as it feels comfortable, or is necessary for the body to feel comfortable. Soften the space between the forehead, space between the eyebrows across the forehead, the area around the eyes, the wrists and shoulders and core muscles of the belly and the buttocks back. Take a deep breath in, sigh out through your mouth. Very good. And then when you're ready, you can come and bring yourself to lie down all the way flat on your belly. We're going to take Sphinx pose. So for Sphinx pose, we have the forearms on the floor. Elbows can be directly underneath the shoulders, but if you need to give yourself a little bit of a softer back bend, then take your elbows a little bit further forward. It doesn't really matter as long as it suits your body. Whatever is good for you, press the palms into the floor and the forearms down. Draw the shoulder blades towards each other to open your chest and direct your gaze to wherever
sense for your neck. So if you lift your chin too far, the back of your neck will be closed. We want the back of the neck to be long. So looking forward or possibly down to between your hands. Press the tops of the feet gently into the floor. Maybe gently press the pubic bone down and engage the belly muscles. Feel like the body's almost suspended between the tops of the arms and wherever your belly meets the floor, or the tops of the feet perhaps. Here, if you feel so inclined, you can close your eyes. Have a sense of the space all around that sweatband area of the head, across the forehead, the sides of the head above the ears, the back of the head. Breathing deeply, softening your internal gaze, keeping the eyes nice and relaxed, the forehead nice and relaxed. And when you're ready, gently easing the elbows apart to bring your forehead down on the backs of your hands. Make a pillow out of the hands, toes towards each other, heels apart, and just wiggle the tailbone from side to side. When you're ready, you can bring your body to stillness for a few deep breaths, sighing out through your mouth if you need to. And if you prefer to have the side of your head on your hands, that's absolutely okay, as long as it's the side of your head above your ear. When you're ready, you can bring yourself back into an extended child's pose, through hands and knees perhaps, just for a moment to stretch out anything that needs to be stretched out, maybe again grounding your forehead on the floor or on your arms if you prefer. And then from here, we're going to rock ourselves onto our feet. So we're in a little crouch position. I'm just going to walk myself a little bit further forward so I'm in the center of my mat. So on our feet here, we're going to come into a forward bend from here. So extend through the backs of the legs, take the heels towards the floor. Keep the knees as soft as you need to feel comfortable here. We're going to hold elbow to elbow. Allow the back of the neck to be nice and relaxed, which will feel good after our Sphinx pose because those muscles will be lengthened and in traction a little bit. Perhaps gently turning the head from side to side. See if you can do this with your eyes closed, if possible. And then in the center, maybe gently nodding the head backwards and forwards, nice and slow. And then to come up, we're going to bend the knees a little deeper, scoop the belly in, relax the arms. Imagine someone's pulling the back of your heart upwards. So the head and the arms hanging down, the legs very active and belly muscles active, buttocks active. When you come up to standing, if you're dizzy, stay here. And if you don't suffer from dizziness, breathe in, reach the arms out and up, look up to where your hands come together. And as you breathe out, draw your thumbs down to your third eye center. Take a moment here and then relax the arms all the way down to the sides. Fantastic stuff, guys. Okay, we're going to do a little standing salute here, which would be quite nice, I hope. Perhaps if I demonstrate first, this will be quite good. So we're going to move with our breath and we're going to do this with the eyes open to begin with, perhaps with a little directed gaze, drishti, and then with our eyes closed. So from our standing Tadasana position, when you're ready to join in, you will breathe in and take the arms out and up and look up towards the hands. And the hands can be in front of the body. They don't need to be directly over the head. And then as you breathe out, you're going to swallow dive to the floor. So lengthening through the tailbone, keeping the chest open, keeping the gaze forward as you fold into a forward bend. And in your forward bend, of course, you can soften your knees. We're going to place the hands on the shins. Breathe in as you lengthen arms, legs, and look forward again.
And then breathe out as you fold into your forward bend. We're going to reach the arms around behind us, interlace the fingers, roll the shoulder blades together and take Dvikonasana, double angle pose. If you need to, release your neck. And then letting the arms come down to the floor, we're going to bend the knees deeply, round up through the spine, just as we did, and take the arms straight up over the head to do the whole thing again. Okay? So let us do it together. If you need to take extra breaths anywhere, please do so. If you need to keep your eyes open, please do so. Standing in Tadasana, turning the palms forward, lengthening the fingertips towards the floor, lengthening the crown of the head upwards. Take a deep breath in and out here. Then as you breathe in, reach the arms out and up, firm belly and buttocks, looking at your hands. As you breathe out, fold forward from your hips, nice and steady into your forward bend. Place the hands onto the shins. As you breathe in, lengthen the arms and the legs and look forward. As you breathe out, fold into your forward bend. Reach your arms behind you. As you breathe in, interlace the fingers and extend through the arms. We're going to breathe out here as well. And then as you breathe in, release the arms down to the sides. Bend the knees deeply. As you breathe out, roll through the spine to standing. Breathing in, reaching up. Looking up, breathing out as you fold. Hands onto the shins. Breathe in, look forward, long arms, long legs. Lift the belly, breathing out as you fold. Reach the arms behind you, interlace the fingers, breathe in. Lengthen the arms, breathe out as you hold. Soften the arms, breathe in, release the hands down. Bend the knees, breathe out, press into the feet, come up to standing. Breathe in, reach the arms up, look up. Breathe out as you fold forward, swallow diving down. Hands onto the shins, breathe in, take a half lift. And breathe out as you fold back over your legs. Interlace the fingers behind you. Breathe in. Take Dvikonasana. Arms long, shoulder blades and palms towards each other. Breathe out as you hold. Breathe in as you release the arms to the floor. Bend the knees. Press into the feet. Breathing out. Scoop the belly in to come to stand upright. One more time. Breathing in, reaching up. Close the eyes if you want to. Breathing out as you fold. Hands onto the shins. Breathe in, take a halfway lift. Breathe out as you fold back over the legs. Reach the hands behind you. Breathe in, take Dvikonasana. Breathe out as you hold. Breathe in, release the hands down to the floor. Bend the knees. Breathe out, press into the feet to come up to standing. And we'll finish by breathing in, reaching the arms out and up. Bring the palms together and breathe out as you draw your thumbs to your third eye. Take a moment here. Maybe slightly press the hands towards the head and the head towards the hands. And when you're ready, you can release the arms down to the side. Give yourself a moment to wiggle or jiggle as you choose, rolling anything that needs rolling. And just note the effect of your practice. So if you, sometimes when you work a lot with directed gaze, you can get a little bit of fatigue in the neck because we're not used to doing so many things with the neck. Perhaps it's in your shoulders, who knows? Maybe you're just having awesome experiences, that's fine too. So as we work with our third eye chakra, balancing is one of the key elements of this chakra. So we're going to practice both standing balances and hand balances today. And our standing balance practice will be tree pose. So I prefer to do balancing work off my mat on the floor. That applies to both hands and feet, but I'm only going to do it with my feet today. So we're going to prepare for our tree pose by doing some hip circles and then a little visual practice, and then we'll see how we go.
So hands onto hips or using a wall for support. Take your weight onto your right leg, make this standing leg firm, and then making big circles with your left knee. And you can begin to use a drishti point, a point ahead of you that's not moving. Firm in your center, making 5 circles in this direction. I think I've got 1 more to go. And then doing 5 in the opposite direction. It doesn't matter what your circles look like. If you need your arms for support, that's fine too. And if you can, using that soft gaze at one spot to keep you feeling centered and balanced. When you've done 5 in each direction, step onto both feet. Take a moment just to feel how the body feels. And then we'll move to the opposite side. Make your left leg firm, lift everything up. And then using your directed gaze, your drishti point, making 5 knee circles or even hip circles in one direction, and then 5 in the other direction. And if you have a clunky hip, then just noticing where it clunks, perhaps trying to make your movement smaller or softer around so that it doesn't clunk so much. I think I'm going to do an extra one on this side. And then step onto both feet again. And again, feel how that feels to step onto both feet, to feel the effort in the practice, in the body. And maybe soften your gaze as well when you're finished so that you can relax that concentration from the forehead as well. Okay, so anywhere in your space, bring your feet under your hips. We're going to breathe in, reach the arms up, and try up onto tiptoes, breathe in up onto tiptoes, reach the arms up. Try and keep your gaze at something that's at eye level right now, and then slowly lower your arms and heels, trying to keep your head and neck lengthened so that you can keep your eyes in the same place. And hopefully the effect is that when your heels come down to the floor, you feel taller. We're going to do it a couple more times. So breathing in up onto tiptoes, fix your gaze at a point that is eye level right now with your head as lengthened up towards the ceiling as possible, and then slowly lower the arms and the heels, trying to keep that length down the neck, the gaze as high up as is possible for you to be. We'll do it one more time, breathing in to come up. And as you breathe out, lowering the arms and the heels nice and slowly. I find that 3 times is the sweet spot. I feel incredibly tall after that practice. So keeping that length, we're going to practice our tree pose. And I will give you an opportunity to do this twice. So the first time we're just going to do a nice gentle introductory tree, and then you can choose the practice of your choice afterwards, okay? So taking your weight onto your right leg first, firm your buttock and thigh so that right hip doesn't sag to the right, it stays over your right ankle. Lift from the center of your foot to the crown of your head, turn out the left knee and just rest the toes against the inside of the right ankle, or if you prefer, you can rest your foot against the inside of the right calf. Use a point of focus ahead of you that is not moving and bring your hands together at the center of your chest. Feel free to use the support of a chair or the wall if you would need to, no problem at all. Notice if you're a little bit wobbly. Now you might be just wobbly in the ankle. Micro movements are excellent for the body, and so we want those. They show that we're responding in real time to the changes that happen in our balance in our bodies. But if you feel stable enough to move, you can raise the arms out to the side. The palms don't have to come together. I prefer them apart, but you can bring your hands together over your head if you'd like to. Drop your shoulders down. Find that the point you're gazing at, your gaze is softening. You're relaxing that space across the eyes, the forehead. Maybe even smile. Remember to breathe. And then when you're ready, you can bring your palms together at the center of the chest, point your left knee forward and step onto both feet.
take a moment maybe to close the eyes here, to rest the eyes after that very concentrated gaze. Observe the effect of your practice. See if there's any effort or tension that you can simply let go of by softening with intention to soften, by breathing. And then when you've done that, if you feel that you need to shake or wriggle, then shake or wriggle. Do it, do what you need. Smashing stuff. Okay, so then we're ready to practice the other side. Don't use your same point, because when you transfer your weight into your left leg and use that buttock and thigh to center the left hip over the left ankle, your gaze will have slightly shifted. So choose a new point of focus ahead of you. Feel the lift from the center of the foot to the crown of the head. Turn out the right knee, rest the right heel against the inside of the left ankle, or place the right foot against the calf. Bring the palms together. Ooh, she says, there's always one side that works better than the other. And take a moment to feel centered enough here to be able to move from here. So it might take a few breaths, a little sense of lifting, of firming. When you're ready, you can take the arms out and up if you wish to. Over the head, palms together if you prefer, palms apart. Drawing the shoulder blades down the back to feel that lift through the chest, through the sides of the body. And then soften your gaze a little, so you're not staring down that point ahead of you. And your forehead can relax and your eyes can relax a little. Find your breath. Whenever you're ready, bringing the palms together at the center of the chest, turning your right knee forward and stepping onto both feet. Relax the arms down, close the eyes for a few moments. Observe the effect of your practice. When you're ready, you can open the eyes and wriggle or schmiggle, anything that needs wriggling and schmiggling. And I realize now that I've worn the wrong trousers, because if I want to do a higher up tree and I put my foot there, it's going to slide down with my very baggy pants. So I may stick with a slightly lower down tree. It's also slightly easier to teach while you're talking, but you can choose on this second round of practicing the tree to bring your foot a little bit higher up. And it's ideal to stick the foot into the top of the thigh, pressing the thigh and the foot towards each other. That works. But you can also rest your heel on top of your knee so that the sole of your foot kind of molds around your knee, and that maybe your toes are on your calf. That is fine, on top of the knee joint, not in at the side of the knee, although there's no great shakes with doing that unless you're pressing really firmly with this other leg. But again, you press the 2 feet together or the 2 legs together. And for those who want to, I'm going to demonstrate with the other leg. You can take stork pose, where you place the foot on top of the front of the thigh. You press your foot into your thigh and just point your knee out to your side. So whichever of these leg positions you prefer. You can use the wall, a chair, anything else. You can keep the toes on the floor if you like. So when you're ready, taking your weight onto your right leg, making sure that that right hip is centered over the right ankle, feeling the lift in the body and choosing your drishti point, turning out your left knee, and then placing your left foot wherever feels comfortable. Wherever it is, press the foot and the standing leg towards each other. Bring the palms together at the center of the chest. Feel that lift, that firmness, that steadiness, and the steadiness of your gaze. When you're ready, you can raise the arms up. Soften the shoulders down. Feel the lift down the sides of the body. Feel the space all around your head. And allow your gaze to be softer, your forehead and eyes relax. Find your breath and hold for as long as you feel comfortable. Try to avoid falling out of a balance if you can. I say that. It's pretty hard to do. Whenever you're ready, you can release out. Take a moment to stand in the center, and there's no need to release out just now if you want to practice for a few more moments. When you do release out, closing your eyes, softening the effort from the body, but gently breathing out, letting go of tension, relaxing the muscles a little bit. If you wish to, in between, you can open your eyes and give yourself a wiggle or any other movements that feel useful. And we can practice to the other side once more. So you don't have to do the same version of the legs on both sides. You might have one knee that behaves differently from the other, one leg that's easier to balance on than the other. So choose, if you wish to, follow your intuition and choose the variation of the posture that you feel would be more appropriate for the standing left leg. When you're ready, you can take your weight onto your left leg and just firm the hip over the ankle. Feel your lift, choose your point of focus, turn out your right foot, your right knee rather, and then place the right foot wherever is comfortable. Still going to go down here, trousers just aren't working today. Press the foot and the thigh towards each other, or the foot and the standing leg towards each other. Bring your palms together at the center of your chest. Take a moment to feel centered here first. As steady as your gaze. And when you're ready, you can reach your arms out and up, palms together or palms apart. Soften the shoulders in. Feel that lift from the sole of the foot to the crown of the head. I always find this posture a little bit easier with the arms up and that sense of lengthening. Find your breath. Soften your gaze, your forehead. Hold for as long as you would like to, but if you're ready to release out, then doing so now. Taking a moment, whenever you have released out, to close your eyes. Observe the effect of your practice. See if you can really relax the eyes and the forehead, as well as the legs and everything else. And then when you're ready, opening your eyes, making any movements that feel good to you. Very good. Maybe doing a little standing ankle rolling, which is quite nice after a standing balance. Maybe a little wrist rolling as well. Super stuff. Okay, so now we have done standing balances. We're going to come to do a hand balance crow pose. So for this, it's useful to have something ahead of you that you feel would be supportive if you happened to tip forwards. And if you have never done crow pose, that's okay. I'm going to give you a little sort of introductory crow. And if you're familiar with the practice, crack on, do as many crows as you feel that you would like to. For crow pose, I like to come into a standing squat first. So a malasana, the feet are a reasonable distance apart, bending from the knees and taking the elbows to the insides of the thighs. But if you prefer just to come to hands and knees, that's okay too. So if you've got a cushion or something in front of you, that's great. If you don't need it, that's fine too. I like to take my hands and put the inside of the fingertips and thumb tips together so that I make a little diamond shape, and then place the hands on the floor and move them apart to a point that's inside shoulder width apart. And here, if you feel intuitively that your fingertips are pointing too far towards the center, you can try and square them a little bit more to point ahead of you. And then I bend my elbows, hands really firmly on the floor, begin to lift the hips a little, press the knees into the upper arms out into the legs, look forward, lift one foot and then rest it down, lift the other foot and rest it down. One foot up and 2 feet up if you want to. Breathe as you look gently forward, releasing down whenever you're ready. And when you release, you can hold in your squat, you can kneel, you can sit, but give your wrists a little bit of a release as well. So for those of you who find getting air difficult, try to practice crow every other day for 2 weeks and see if it improves. If your wrists get sore, then stop for a few days. So the key things are to press the elbows out and the knees in. You have to really actively do that to hold the shape and to move your weight forward so that your hands are underneath your body. You can't do crow with your hands in front of your body. You need to lift your hips and move forward. If you look forward, you will not fall forward. If you look down, you almost certainly land on top of your head, hopefully on your bolster or a cushion. So, having another go whenever you're ready, pressing the elbows out, the knees in, looking forward, moving the weight forward, lifting one foot and then the other, keeping one foot down if you wish to, lifting both feet if you wish to. If you're practiced, bringing the big toes together to hold the energetic loop. If you're very practiced, you can release your gaze downwards and you can rest down. Take a moment here to rest in whatever pose feels good to you. Could be sitting, could be kneeling, could be squatting. Roll your wrists. For anyone who feels that crow is just not for them, and there is no need to do every posture in the yoga array of postures, then choosing another standing pose of your choice to balance in. Doesn't matter what it is. We're going to do one more go. And this is really a little bit of advice for anyone who is able to hold their crow pose. It's like what to do next. So before we get to a twisted crow, which we'll maybe work with next term somewhere, we're going to look at how you adapt to movement in your crow. So one last time, placing the hands down, really firm with the hands into the floor, bending the elbows out, knees in, taking one foot up and then the other, and then just try to shift your weight around, a little bobbing and weaving to get used to moving weight on your arms before releasing down. And this time, we're releasing all the way down, shaking out the wrists or rolling the wrists or interlacing the fingers to make wrist circles, whatever feels good. And sometimes after crow pose, it's really nice to put the backs of the hands on the floor and just press down a little bit, not too much, but a little bit into the backs of the hands to feel the wrists move the opposite way. When you're working with hand balances, a little bit often is much better than doing a lot and then having strain or injuries as a result. So just a little taste, but not leaving it months and months between practices. Okay, so we are now going to move into a seated practice. I'm just going to put my bolster to one side. We'll need it a bit later on. So if you want to take a little block underneath the buttocks, you can. But if you want to, you can simply ease the flesh of the buttocks backwards and stretch your legs out in front of you. And here we're going to take Dandasana stick pose. So we want to press the heels of the feet down, press the backs of the legs down, unless, like me, you have hyperextension, that would lift your heels, in which case you just have the intention to move the backs of the thighs down. Hands either side of the hips, roll the shoulder blades towards each other, press into the fingertips or the palms of the hands if you've got nice long arms. Lift your chest, feel the belly muscles lifting and engaging. And lift your gaze ever so slightly. Take a deep breath in here. Close your eyes or gaze gently downward. And then see if you can maintain this lift and place the hands on top of the thighs. Dandasana is much harder than it looks. And then when you're ready, gently opening your eyes, we're going to bend the left knee in and then take the left foot over the right leg. So a little preparation for a twisting here. We're going to keep that right leg extended. Sit tall and then ease the flesh of the belly around a little bit. And that might mean drawing it inwards, might mean a little bit of manual manipulation, it's no problem. We're not looking for a super big twist here. We're looking for a gentle twist. So reaching your right hand, wrist, forearm or elbow around the left thigh, draw it towards you and feel that sense of closing the space between the torso and the thigh to keep the spine lifted. We're going to reach your left arm in front of us, look at the hand, then looking at your hand all the way around the body to place the hand down behind the body, press into the palm or the fingertips so you're sitting very tall, not leaning backwards. Draw the shoulder blades down and towards each other. Ease the left side of your chest round to the left. Maybe look round to the left. Sorry, turn the head round to the left. Then use the eyes, turn the eyes as far to the left as feels comfortable. And close your eyes or keep gazing to your left. Take a few deep breaths here. When you're ready, turn to the front with only your head. The eyes can be open. Release the arms, unwind your spine, turn a little to the opposite side and back to the center. Here, uncross the legs, but leave the left knee bent and just allow the left knee to fold out to one side. Keeping the right leg nice and long, the toes active. Again, taking the hands either side of the hips, press into the fingertips, roll the shoulders back and down, open your chest, lift your whole spine up. Find a point of focus ahead of you that is not moving. And then keeping your eyes there, fold gently forward, just a little. Want to avoid rounding in the upper back. So keeping the chest open, the gaze slightly lifted, maybe not the chin lifted though. When you have tipped forward enough for you, so it's just a little tip forward, you can take the arms in front of the left knee to the side of the right thigh and maybe gently sway the chest from side to side. Still scooping the belly muscles in, still drawing the shoulder blades towards each other, still with the gaze lifted and the chest open. Once you've had a little wiggle from side to side, you might feel ready for a fold. So if you would like to, you can fold a little deeper. And perhaps you can get your forehead down on your legs. Perhaps you can build a little stack of fists and rest your forehead down here. Or if you have a bolster handy, you can bring your bolster to your long leg and rest your head down on your bolster, either inside, outside, or on top of your leg as you choose. So whichever of these feels like the right thing to do, take a deep breath in and a deep breath out, just grounding that third eye center. And then when you're ready, you can gently look forward towards your toes, bring your hands back towards your hips, press into your hands to come upright, and then draw your left knee up and lengthen your left leg. And here you can give your knees a little bit of a shake, or side to side or up and down as you choose. And we're going to take up plank. So for those of you who don't want to do up plank, you can lie down on the floor and do a nice long stretch. But if you're doing up plank, then fingertips facing forward. We're going to draw the shoulder blades towards each other, firm in the belly. Keep your gaze lifted, lift your hips, press into your arms, and then gently lower down. We'll do one more like this. Roll the shoulder blades towards each other, lift your gaze, lift your hips, lift your belly. If you want to, you can lift your head a little bit, chin to look upwards, and then releasing down. And when you come down, ease the flesh of the buttocks backwards to find yourself sitting in stick pose again. Just lose the bolster for a moment. So this time, fingertips either side of the hips, rolling the shoulder blades towards each other. Lengthen the heels down, lengthen through the crown of the head. Keep that lift. Close the eyes if you feel comfortable doing so. Rest your hands on top of your thighs. Take a deep breath in and a deep breath out. And when you're ready, you can bring your right knee in with eyes open if you like, crossing your right foot over your left leg to sit really tall. We've got that lift we've maintained. Wrap the left hand, wrist, forearm or elbow around the right thigh. Draw it towards you and ease the flesh of the belly out of the way. Reaching the right hand forward, use your eyes to follow the arm around behind you and place the hand down on the floor. Press the hand into the floor to give yourself some lift. Draw the shoulder blades down the back. Feel the length into the crown of the head. Ease the right side of the chest around to the right. Turn the head to the right. Move the eyes as far to the right as feels comfortable. Gazing gently there, or closing the eyes and taking a few deep breaths. When you're ready, turning to the front with only your head, releasing your arms, unwinding your spine, turning a little to the opposite side, back to the center, uncrossing the legs, but keeping the right knee bent. Let the right knee fall out to the side, sitting tall, adjusting yourself on your block or your buttocks as needed. Hands either side of the hips, press down, roll the shoulder blades together to lift through the center of the body. And keeping your gaze high, allow yourself to lean forward to a point that feels long and straight for your spine with your chest still open, not rounding at all. Bring the hands forward if you have room to do so and do a little gentle sway of the chest from side to side. If that doesn't feel useful, you don't have to do it, but it might be just the ticket to wriggle out a touch of extra space. Make sure the back of your neck is long as well. And when you're ready, you can bring yourself to center and just see if you've got more room to fold into the pose. And it might be that you get your head down to your knee or your shin quite easily. But if not, then building a stack of fists or using a block or a bolster, something similar to rest your third eye down on so you feel grounded. Taking a couple of deep breaths here. When you're ready to come up, you can move your hands back towards your hips, roll your shoulder blades together, look forward and let that gaze bring you to an upright position. Draw your right knee up and then lengthen the right leg, give the legs a bit of a paddle or a roll. And we'll take another up plank. This time, if you want to, you can turn your fingertips to point backwards. You can turn them in any direction that suits you. No worries at all. Draw your shoulder blades towards each other. Lift your gaze, lift your hips, press into your feet, maybe look up towards the ceiling. And gently releasing down. And if you've got one more in you, go for it. So lifting your gaze, lifting your hips, firming your buttocks, firming your belly, looking up. That space between the shoulder blades, very active. And then releasing down. And from here, we're going to need our bolsters handy, but we can swing ourselves around onto our bellies to rest the forehead onto the back of the hands, toes towards each other, heels apart, and just give your belly a little bit of, your hips a little bit of a wiggle from side to side. When you're ready, you can bring yourself to stillness. And with your forehead resting, or possibly your head turned to one side if you prefer, try softening that space across the forehead, around the eyes, letting go of the effort in the back of the body, the core of the body, the space between the shoulder blades, the backs of the knees, wherever you're feeling it, just softening. Take some really deep breaths with your belly completely relaxed. And then when you're ready, you can bring yourself up onto hands and knees. You can take a child's pose if you would like to. We might do that just after this practice as well. So we're going to do a downward facing dog where we bring the forehead towards some sort of support. So it could be a bolster, it could be a stack of cushions, several folded blankets on top of a stack of books, whatever you have to hand. For this practice, we don't really want to rest weight into the forehead or to strain in the front or the back of the neck. We want the sense of contact so we can energetically release there. So you might want your feet a little bit further back than normal, because the more open your dog, the closer to the ground your head will be. Tucking your toes under, firming your hands, and just bringing yourself up into your down dog, walking yourself a little bit forward if you've misjudged where you ought to be. See if you can gently nestle your forehead. A bolster really is good for this because it has a little give, so you can sort of create a little hollow for the forehead to rest in, the top of the nose, that space across the top of the eyebrows. And here you can keep your knees nice and soft if you want to, but try to have that sense of the arms being nice and active, of pressing the chest towards the thighs, of lengthening the tailbone, lifting the belly muscles. And enjoy that sense of contact with the crown, not the crown of the head, the center of the forehead and your support. Hold for as long as feels comfortable. Softer in the knees makes this more of a yin pose than if you hold this with very, very long straightened arms and legs. So a little gentleness across the body now. Whenever you're ready, so 5 breaths is a really good length of time, 10 if you would like to. But whenever you're ready, you can release the knees to the mat, maybe draw your bolster if you've got one closer towards you, and take a child's pose here, turning one side of the head towards the bolster. If you don't have a bolster, take a simple child's pose. Wherever you are, soften that space across the shoulders, that space across the forehead and around the eyes. Release the sense of effort from the wrists and the arms and legs, the muscles of your core. Try closing your eyes. If you have your head turned to one side, don't forget to turn to the opposite side. And holding here for about another 3 to 5 breaths. Whenever you're ready, just gently bringing yourself up to your hands and knees. If you need to, you can lengthen one leg a little, maybe rocking over the toes and then the other. And we are going to prepare to do candle gazing for part of our relaxation. So for this, I'm going to have to dim the lights, which I will do now. And if you want to put on any jumpers or blankets or anything like that, please do so now. Get yourselves nice and cozy and comfy. Super stuff. If you've got a candle at home, then that's ideal. I'm hoping to be able to show you a candle at this end as well. I'm hoping that that will work. So for candle gazing, tratak or trataka, we want the candle to be about eye height. So not, I've got a very bendy candle here. So not too low. If you've got a stool or a chair seat, you can put it on top of, or if a stack of books or something like this will work as well. I'm just going to pop off the final light. Woo! That's nice and dark now. Okay, so if you happen to have a candle, you can absolutely use the one on screen now. It doesn't matter that it's a light candle. It is a candle, but it shows up on the camera as more of a light. That's okay. So for your tratak practice, come to any comfortable seated pose. Doesn't matter or what it is. Can be on a chair, can be kneeling, sitting, as you choose. And allow your spine to be really long, but comfortably lifted, so you're not gripping or holding anywhere. You can rest your hands wherever is comfortable so that your shoulders feel relaxed. In the process of candle gazing, we're going to start with our eyes closed. And take a moment to soften the space across the forehead and the area around the eyes. When you're ready, open your eyes and gaze at your candle flame without blinking. And the first time you do it, you maybe gaze at the candle flame for just a few seconds. When you begin to blink or the eyes begin to water, close your eyes and hold the reverse image of the candle flame on your closed eyelids for as long as possible. When the image of the light or the flame begins to disappear, open your eyes and gaze gently towards your light or your flame without blinking. When your eyes begin to prickle or water or blink, closing the eyes, holding the image of the candle against your closed eyelids. Continue in this way, gazing gently at the candle flame or the light. When you need to close your eyes, closing, holding that image for as long as you can. Keeping your forehead and eyes soft. Don't be concerned if your eyes water. That's part of the practice, is to cleanse the eyes and lubricate them. Maybe practicing one more round. So the next time your eyes are closed, just leaving them closed. I'll switch on just a few lights for relaxation. Leaving the eyes gently closed, softening that area across the forehead and around the eyes. And to finish our practice, bring your palms together and rub them vigorously, getting lots of movement into the hands so that you get friction across the palms, rubbing them hard, pressing them firmly. And when they're warm, placing the hands over the eyes so the fingertips rest in the hairline. The skin of the palms of the hands doesn't touch the eyelids, but all around the eyes. Feel that soften and release, linking into your palms a few times, releasing your hands down when you're ready to open your eyes. Well done, guys. So Tratak, lovely, the eyes watering, fantastic. It's just what we need on these cold winter days to help stop our eyes being dry in the cold air and then the warm heated environments we live in, which tend to be a bit dry at this time of year. So Tratak is also an excellent gateway posture for things like meditation and other concentration practices. So if you enjoyed it, if you enjoyed that stillness after the practice, perhaps choosing a visual concentration exercise will help you to attain that meditative state. But now relaxation. So lying into your preferred relaxation pose, making sure you're nice and warm and comfy. If you've had your bolster on the go throughout the class, maybe choosing to put it underneath the knees. And if you've got your hair up, release your hair down, because we want that part of the third eye chakra that is at the back of the head to have a nice firm contact with the floor. So as you rest yourself down, make note of how you're feeling. Perhaps you need to bend your knees in and give yourself a little bit of a wiggle from side to side, or a rock and roll. It might be that you need to gently roll your head from side to side to release the back of the neck or the shoulders, or even just that space across the back of the third eye chakra. Allow your head to be heavy into the floor as you roll from side to side. When you're ready, you can center yourself and make any final adjustments, any final fidgets before bringing your body to stillness, with the palms turned upwards and the heels of the floor grounded on the floor. Heels of the floor, heels of the feet. Close your eyes. Take a deep breath in and sigh out through your mouth. Repeat 3 more times. A deep breath in. Let all your effort go. A deep breath in. Let your muscles begin to relax. One more deep breath in. Surrender your weight down into the mat. Allow your breath to fall into its natural rhythm and find quietness. Take your awareness into your forehead. Feel it soften, that space between the eyebrows spreading. The area all around the scalp, around the head, relaxing. The eyes softening. The mouth, tongue, and jaw releasing. Allow the whole body to feel heavy, warm, supported, and releasing down. Bring your awareness to your closed eyelids and imagine them as if they were a cinema screen. Soften your gaze in their direction and try to visualize on the screen the images as they are mentioned, as if you were watching somebody else watch them in something we call the witnessing state, without engaging in your thoughts, whys, wherefores, or rationalizations. So bearing witness, bring to your mind's eye the image of a candle flame. A candle flame. Bring now the image of a rose. A rose. Project now the image of a sunset. A sunset. Bring to mind the image of a tree. A tree. Bring to mind the image of a lotus blossom. A lotus blossom. Bring to mind the image of a lake, a perfectly still and reflecting surface. A lake, a perfectly still and reflecting surface. And now allow your mind's eye to project any image that percolates up. Enjoy watching whatever arrives. As you relax a little deeper with every exhalation. Gently begin to deepen your breath. Bring your awareness back to your hands and your feet by wiggling your fingers and toes, maybe rolling your wrists and your ankles. When you feel ready, take a deep breath in and stretch as if you were waking from sleeping, maybe yawning. In your own time, if you feel so inclined, rest your feet on top of your bolster or bring your knees into your chest. Make any movements that feel good. Maybe a bit of rocking and rolling. Maybe gently rolling your head from one side to the other with the knees quite still. In your own time, find your way onto one side, curling up for a moment there. And then in your own time, keeping your eyes as closed closed for as long as possible, come into any comfortable seated position. And then here again, we'll finish with palming the eyes. So rubbing the palms together vigorously, pressing them hard, rubbing them quite fast, trying to get that build of friction. And if you find that difficult, you can clap your hands together and then do it. And that really helps to get that heat between the hands. And then when you're ready, you can place the palms over the eyes just as before, feeling that space across the eyes and the forehead, having a sense of containing the energy of your intuition, of your vision here in the center of the forehead, behind the eyes. Blinking into your palms a few times, releasing your hands down as you open your eyes. Thank you for joining me in this practice this evening. I hope you've enjoyed it. I look forward to seeing you next week for our crown chakra. Namaste.